As much as part of me wants to go immediately to Ridley now, the fact is that just leaping right at those heads again is just asking for us to be stopped again in the exact same way. Unfortunately, there's no other area that I can think of at the moment to move towards that might give us something to make that trip a bit more plausible. So we're back to just aimlessly wandering around, hoping to find something that might help us get where we want to go a bit more easily. Hell, for all I know, all we need to do to end the game within the hour is just get the timing of our space jumps better, and then zip right to the next major boss before heading to the frickin' Mother Brain fight. Still, if there's a chance to find something more to help make the trip easier, I suppose there's no harm in checking. Again, it's not like we're in any actual hurry. I'm just tired of aimlessly wandering and hoping for the best after all the times we've resorted to that in this particular game. Slow and steady might win the race, but it doesn't do you any favors in terms of sanity. Yeah, definitely only one way to that boss room, and it's the way that I'm in no mood to try again anytime soon. Regardless, looks like we're going back upwards. Random thought, but what kind of legs exercises does Samus go through? Sure, the suit's probably putting more energy into those jumps than she is, the various servos giving her more oomph and all that. Still, as Zero Mission showed, it's not like she's completely incapable without it. And I've got to admit, my mind kinda wandered to the image of Samus working up a sweat in a personal gym as one of the sort of things she does when she's not going through this crap. Though that has less to do with the fact that she's an attractive-looking lady who looks good in various kinds of athletic wear, and more to do with the fact that a lot of other video game characters, Mario himself in particular, don't seem to have much explanation for how they're able to do the things they do in their respective games consistently. At the very least, when you look at Mario, you don't typically think of somebody with that kind of build being able to jump that high or throw a massive turtle dragon thing around. And just how many slim video game characters are there that somehow lift swords that must outweigh them by obscene amounts and swing them around pretty easily with no threat of being tossed around by the momentum? Just a random thought as I randomly check an area that I probably don't think has anything for us, but it doesn't hurt to look. Right, so nothing hidden down here. Okay, didn't mean to fall back down there. No harm done, but apparently it's not a matter of if you can hit the extra jump in midair button at any time, in any sort of situation. But then I suppose it was never like that in any of the games, so I don't know why I thought it would work that way here. Well, guess we're going back to Brinstar. Of course, now I can't help wondering why it is that only 2 of the 4 boss battles that unlock the door to Mother Brain stick out to me. Kraid and Ridley. I wouldn't say the others are completely forgettable. Certainly the Ghost and Bug were unique, but they don't feel like much of an event to me when we fight them, really. They're just a more challenging battle than most of the other enemies we deal with on the planet, with interesting gimmicks, but nothing to make you go, oh shit, when you deal with them. Not a lot of unexplored areas here, and both are a good distance from here. Guess I've got to think of more things to talk about to fill the time and try to make sure they seem relevant to the Metroid series. Hopefully we won't have too many bits of me thinking about what Samus might be like between missions, since, while interesting to know, it'd probably be too easy for me to end up sounding like some kind of creep. Assuming, of course, I didn't already get registered as a creep to some people by mentioning I imagine Samus sweaty after some exercise to stay in shape. Again, it's not like the 2D Metroid games do all that much to establish who Samus is. Hell, in the original game, nobody knew that she was a she until the end of the game, and that was based on how well you did. All we know is she's blonde, somewhere around 6 feet tall, blonde, and makes a living by, going on to hostile environments to kill a bunch of monsters, and I get the feeling I repeated something because there's so little to talk about. Certainly not what I typically imagine when I think of a bounty hunter, though. And unlike the Star Fox team, she never really has any explicit money issues or any kind of payment plans. She's about as blank a slate of character as you can get without actually giving the player the chance to create her appearance for themselves. That's not a bad thing, but after you've gone through a number of adventures with a character, it's easy to start wishing you had more than an absolute bare-bones basics thing to, imagine being in the place of. And considering just how many years the Metroid franchise has been a thing and how many games it's spawned, it's easy to get annoyed with just how little we know about our main character. Unfortunately, some of Nintendo's attempts to flesh her out, from manga to the rather poorly received Metroid Other M, just have not become canon in the eyes of the fanbase. And while I will admit some fanfic depictions of her are more preferable to me than others, there's nothing that really felt right to me. Probably because after all the games, I have a mental image of how she acts in my head. An image that isn't really supported by much of anything. And I'm sure just about every fan of the series has their own idea of her personalities and mannerisms. It's not like I've got any grounds to say I doubt Samus is the type to cuss like a sailor, or if she bothers to brush her teeth in the morning. I'm no authority on the character in any way, really. All I know is that I've enjoyed all the games we've gone through with her involved so far, and most of the ones I'm thinking of doing in the future, I will enjoy as well. Still, I can't help wishing I had more to talk about involving said character at the moment, since I have no idea when we'll finally get to the next boss, considering the reason we stopped trying to get past the previous barrier. Well, at least we're close to a blue box with a dot in it. That's gotta be worth something. Well, this certainly feels familiar. Great, can't even get on top of a simple box at the moment. At least not without far more effort than it should take, considering how far into the game we are. I mean, am I just not giving myself enough credit? Or am I as big of an idiot as I feel? Well, at least it was an energy tank at the end of that bit of struggling. I suppose that's a mercy. Not much of one, but I'll take what I can get. And apparently what I don't get is a hidden path of any kind in this room. Time to start looking somewhere else for a place to make progress from. Assuming progress is the right word. Well, it certainly seems that leaving is going to be a lot easier than getting in. Definitely worth some chuckles there. Well, that'll teach me for thinking we could avoid that fast little bugger. Not that he did all that much damage, but still. Right, so the next nearest unexplored area is left and below. I've I've got the distinct feeling I've already tried to get down there from the convenient hallway just above. Still, it's not like there's anything notable that would tell us where we need to go in order to get to that hallway. Okay, so even with the plasma beam, we're not able to kill the more durable bad things on the ceiling. I've got the distinct feeling I'm gonna make a mistake I've already made multiple times in this playthrough. Yeah, this is definitely a familiar pit we've fallen into. I've probably already scanned this entire hallway before, and of course we're seeing our old friend the green ostrich. Of course now I wish that the friendly creatures on this planet did more to help us than just show us how to get out of the pits over and over again. Okay, so the bird isn't capable of bursting through the blocks himself. Somehow makes it even more ridiculous that he keeps showing us how to get out of the pit when he can't get out that way himself. Or was that a she? I'm not all that informed about how to tell the difference between regular ostriches, much less fantasy ones from another planet. Okay, no clue why I decided to go even further up when the nearest of the unexplored ground seems to be further down. Again, I'm just mindlessly wandering around and hoping we somehow stumble onto a method to move on. Some extra method of moving on that might not even actually exist. We might just need to use the tools we have in a more skillful way to get by those snakeheads that consistently shoot fireballs at us. Fireballs that shouldn't even do anything since we're invulnerable to lava and we're already under the lava when we were hit by them. I know, this isn't the kind of game where that kind of logic means much of anything. After all, it was made by Nintendo. Still. Okay, we didn't really need to see the confirmation that Ridley is the last thing between us and Mother Brain, but it's still kind of a cool visual. At the very least, it shows that the pirates consider him to be a much more dangerous threat to us than the other three bosses they used as locks. Though part of me can't help feeling that Kraid somehow deserves a bit more respect. He's certainly among the most memorable of the bosses we've come across in the series. Hell, Super Smash Bros. Loves to make the guy a background monster for a Metroid-themed battle area. I know it's not super important, but I keep having this hope in my head that he shows up in Metroid Prime 4 for some reason, just so we can fight against the big guy again. It's not like Ridley needed justification to come back from one game to the next despite dying multiple times. Well, another bit of disappointment is that I don't think we've ever heard the tune Brinstar Depths in this game, even though that's practically Kraid's theme here. Yeah, definitely have no clue what I'm planning at this point, probably because there is no plan. That's certainly not making things easier for me to come up with things to say in this clip, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely no point in running into that room again. If only I remembered what that room was for earlier in the game. Sure, it was probably for an early boss fight, but I can't recall which of the many boss fights it was. Yeah. Not much to grab in this region. Definitely little point in coming this way outside of maybe revisiting Mother Brain's previous chambers and finally grabbing that thing that we should have gotten hours ago, but then I suppose whatever's down there isn't all that important anyway. Well, there's certainly nothing else on the wrecked ship for us. Well, nothing that wouldn't involve us having to find some way to do a precision boost jump from a location I don't know about to reach another location we've yet to actually enter. But something about secondary energy tanks doesn't feel all that appealing compared to regular ones. I'm not even sure why. After all, they both improve our health. But then, our problem isn't about gaining more health. It's about reaching a particular location that happens to be behind some defenses that we can freeze for a bit, but we can't destroy them. And the only way we can get up there is a special kind of mid-air jump that those damn things can easily interrupt. Again, it's certainly possible we can get through with the tools we have, and that searching for more tools is just a waste of time, especially this late in the game. But can you blame me for thinking along those lines when so many of the barriers we've come across in all of the Metroid games only required us getting the proverbial key to get through them? It's hard to deny that in this game, at least, it's felt all too often like having the right key just isn't enough to get us through. Wonder why I never got the feeling when we were going through the 3DS game. Sure, there were plenty of reasons to be frustrated with that one. We were running into barriers left and right for things we wouldn't actually grab for several hours, even near the beginning of the game. And there were so many mazes within the maze that it felt absurdly convoluted. But when we found the tool to get doors open or allow us to become more mobile, we didn't seem to have any further issue with those obstacles in our path as far as I remember. Part of me wants to say that's because that game was more combat-oriented than this one. But then, this game has a far larger variety of common enemies for us to deal with, and the bosses all feel pretty unique compared to one another. Sure, there were more bosses overall in the 3DS one, but you face one Metroid T-Rex, you face them all. Hell, I'm pretty sure that the fan remake AM2R did a better job of changing things up for the various bosses by giving them more of a unique terrain to fight in instead of mostly standardized combat arenas for the stronger varieties of Metroids. Again, AM2R had a better idea of how to pull off atmosphere and make things feel pretty epic when you finally got to the end, even if they had more limited means to pull it off. And oh dear, I need to get back to talking about this game, not the games we've already LP'd in this series so far. Yeah, still not a lot of ground for us to check since we've been to so much of the planet this far into the game. Makes sense considering how little raw footage I have left to deal with from this playthrough at this point. Still, really wish I knew just how much longer I'm gonna keep on wandering around instead of just getting to the next big fight. Especially since, with my luck, Ridley's the one who has the screw attack, which probably makes this game the one that makes that particular trick come so damn late. I'm amazed it ended up becoming pretty iconic for the character Samus. I can't even say it's completely unique as an attack against enemies, since Sonic the Hedgehog also curls into a ball and leaps at his enemies to do damage. The only real difference seems to be that Sonic bounces off his foes, while Samus just slices through them as she keeps on spinning in the air through some multi-jump insanity. Yeah, looks like I'm heading back to try going through Ridley's door again. Sure, I haven't managed to grab anything that would make us feel more confident in the attempt, but after a while I just can't stand my own lack of confidence and will just brute force my way through. Probably not the best way to go about solving a problem around here, but to be fair, it's not like we have too many options right now. Great, now I'm sorely tempted to watch or rewatch other than Let's Players going through Super Metroid to see if my trouble spots are the same as other people's trouble spots. Not that it would really matter all that much if they were different. Yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah, back in Norfair and probably gonna head back in the general direction of the room that stopped us last time. Really wish I could feel confident that the next attempt will be the last one as we try to get through to the other side, but it could go either way. Also really wish that those hopping bastards would stop somehow taking me by surprise in the same spots over and over and over again. I swear, it's almost like a loop where I make the same moves in the same rooms that I already know are full of enemies and get surprised by the same ambushes a humiliating number of times. I'm pretty sure the only reason our health is so high is because the game is very generous with how they heal us. Yeah, this seems about as good a point as any to save for now. Okay, why am I more in love with the save point past the acid than the one just above this hole? Seems like a rather odd, if unimportant, preference.